The topic is extremely interesting as it's about the evolution of PR in 2025, technology, trust, and transparency. And we're all set to talk about it, as I would like to start by inviting Mr. Rachit Mishra, DGM and Head, Brand Marketing and Communication from CJ Darcl Logistics. Moving towards the next name, please put your hands together as I welcome Mr. Amit Arora, Head of Corporate Communication and Public Relations, Housing.com and PropTiger.com. Mr. Amit Chauhan, Associate Vice President, Marketing and Communication, Client Associates. Mr. Goldee Patnaik, Vice President, India Marketing and Communication Head from itel Mobile and Accessories. And last but not the least, Madhurima Bhatia ma'am, Head of PR, Media Engagement and Partnership from India and APEC.
The topic today which we have chosen, or rather we are going to talk, is both timely and very critical today. So, to start with, I'll set the context by saying what actually PR is. PR has always been the core of, or the heart of storytelling. But with changing things, especially this year with AI coming into the scenario and the narratives, which initially used to resonate with the audience, are now at the verge where people try to judge whether they are actually the reality or it's a deep fake going around. So with this AI role, I would like to understand, Amit, from you, how do you see this into media relations and how are things moving on this particular front?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rachit. And thanks, everyone, for being there for the last session. So, as what I would like to start with is, reputation remains the critical part. And now the reputation in today's era, it has, the building the narrative has become more important than anything else. Why? For the simple reason, there are two things I'll come to. First is the role of AI, how it has changed. And for that, I think the prime important for professionals is understanding the importance of strategizing. Because that is something, if you understand that, if you understand your consumer and your brand, then it becomes very easier for you, because AI helps in analyzing data, in summarizing data. But ultimately, what will work for your consumer, for your brand, how it will resonate with your brand is something is the job of PR, right? The communication guy need to have a core understanding of that. Under that, the irony here with, although AI is helping us, but I'm sure you'll agree that AI is working on the data which is already present over there, right? So some people, as they say that, there are, the AI is hallucinating or whatsoever, but the data which is already there, there are a lot of stereotype. For example, if you search today on AI, a dacoit, the perception of Gabbar Singh, with a mustache is something which you will see. Or if you will search for a witch on AI for a picture, you will see a lady with a sari. So the challenge here for PR professional is to move beyond these stereotypes. That is the challenge which we will face as we move forward. And for us, as PR professional, building creative and authentic narrative, not relying totally on AI expertise is something which we need to build for our generations to come. Because we understand, we have read so much, we understand how the narratives are being built. If you search for, a picture of 100 CEOs, right? The picture that AI will throw would be more than, almost 100% would be male CEOs, right? So these are stereotypes which we need to overcome. But hence, it becomes our responsibility as communication professional to build authentic narratives which are there for the generation to follow. I'm not getting into the nitty-gritty of the narratives are being controlled today majority of the time, and hence, it becomes more challenging. But yeah, coming back, so one is AI, that we need to understand the importance of building authentic narrative. And for the role of PR professional, building relationship. Second part is building relationship remains prime important. That if you understand the strategy, that strategy and that narrative is of no use if you do not understand who will buy what, right? That your storytelling will hold no importance if you do not have relationship and understanding of how this story, how and where and who will do this story, how will this story will fly.
It's about creating that
Yeah, building that relationship in the industry, be it with the media or influencer or anyone else. So, yeah.
Come back to this. I'll call you AC. I think that will be a little better.
Fine, yeah.
Your quick take on this thought. How do you see AI transforming the media relations?
So, first of all, I'll tell you that I come from a boring, you can say, industry. I belong to wealth management industry, and that too very private wealth management industry. In fact, we only cater 1,300 clients, odd clients, all over India. So
Are we going to talk about the AUMs also?
no. Yeah. So what I want to bring it over here, yes, AI is transforming things across the communication part and everything. But despite that, somewhere for media relations or maybe your regular part of communication, you have to first understand the business aspect of it, what you are trying to achieve out of whatever your objective is. So first you understand your dhanda, what you are doing, right? So, and then after that you see, AI is basically whatever inputs you will give. Maybe you will put a story that I want to do a story on this particular piece. Maybe he's gonna give you X number story, one different topic, two different topics of the same. But at the end, you have to take that story out to the media person, right? So it is better your story is data backed, your story is authentic enough. So see, in my case, in our industry, we generally rely on the data. We generally rely on the media relations. That too, our relations are very much cherry-picked, basically. You can say only the pink newspapers out there, Mint and all that. So we are less relied on AI, you can say.
Great. Goldie, you come in
Yes.
from an industry.
What's left? I'm just thinking. So I think just to summarize, AI is the precursor, I would say. With the advent of AI, life has become slightly easy. AI takes the lead of data generation, right? How do you pitch a journalist, right? How do you understand the journalist ecosystem, the ecosystem of a publication? What sentiments work in which region? All those data points can be thrown by AI. What AI can't do is, how do you put your narrative and storytelling on that? There's no control. You need to control it emotionally, right? Where to stop also needs to be told to AI. So AI is a great start, but how you navigate those data and build healthy media relationships, as Amit told, relationship building can't happen through AI, right? So the start is given by AI, but the impact and the end result is all your storytelling, narratives, key messaging, and you need to know which masala has to go in which quantity to make a great dish,
I agree.
called media relations.
The point you have been making, I think Madhurima will be able to dwell more on that, coming in from a global research organization who is actually into data. How is data or AI influencing your organization, Madhurima, on this?
Hi everyone, I'm Madhurima. Is it working? Hi, I'm Madhurima from Ipsos, which is a global market research company. We are a B2B brand. So, for us, the most important thing, since we are in the knowledge sector, so we have to, consistently work towards generating interest in media and among our key stakeholder, which is clients. so that we have a sort of a pull strategy, and clients, they read about our new tools, they read about our thought leadership, our expertise, and they automatically get in touch with us, and they want to know more about it, so that our people don't have to go cold calling, though we are a global company, and we already work with global, our roster of clients are all global, so they all have the usual suspects in the consumer packaged goods sector. But then at the same time, we strive to ensure that we put out, build visibility around our key capabilities. Now coming to AI that everyone is talking about, what I want to say is that I've started using AI very, off late, though I was using it earlier to look at media monitoring. But now I'm also using it to, to ramp up my list of journalists. So I have this Session AI, which, by sectors throws up list of journalists. So there are new journalists now I can, tap into and see what are their areas. And the beauty of it is that all their coordinates also come in that. So which is making my task easier, but then I have to now build on that and make the most of it. And also AI can be used for making your creatives, which, you can just give the right prompts and say, I want this creative. Suppose we do this, Mr. Narendra Modi's approval rating. Now, and that's the next survey I have to write now on. So what I will do, I will just say, can you give me a nice photo of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi with, say, Army or someone else or something, that prompt. And actually, it gave me that picture last time. Because when we did this, most trusted institutions, so Mr. Modi, or most trusted, what do you say, of professions. So, this was also, Army was coming on top, etc. So I had to put this together. I got one image which had all the forces and Mr. Narendra Modi in it. So, you can use the right prompts to generate the right picture and use this human AI with human intelligence. It can be a great tool to, make your task easier. And like I said, media monitoring, I used to earlier, use Google to look at all my press coverage. But now with this, with Session and everything with me, immediately it gives me that pop-up saying, what's my share of voice, what the main stories that came out, etc. So, all those things make our task easier. So we have to see how we leverage AI to simplify our task and to move faster.
You can also analyze your share of voice if you have, and
Yes.
you can dig deeper into it and analyze your
Absolutely.
share of voice.
And you can see what your
become very
competition-
easier.
Yeah,
So
and
like
what
your
competition-
infographics, any data
Yes,
representation,
yes.
visual graphics, the storytelling becomes much nicer to be picked
Yes.
up and to be depicted, I guess.
In fact, you'll be surprised that my PPT also is now, AI can make better PPT, whatever, how it looks, that is, if you're adding.
So I just want to add on over here, in a funnier way maybe. So if you don't have any assistants with you, maybe, so AI is something which you can hire as an assistant. Subject human intervention is required by default, and whatever content you are producing out of it, that has to be vetted really well before you are sending that to external people.
Absolutely, yeah.
Am I audible?
I think there's a red,
Yeah, it's
the battery's waiting. You can use this?
Better? Yeah. But going further to your point, Madhurima, and I understand you have been using it pretty well, so all of us can learn from it. How to make this use of AI more qualitative in nature rather than quantitative, especially from the PR perspective, and impact the business outcomes.
So, all the writing that I do of my press releases, I do myself. But, I've heard my HR team telling me that they write the basic and then they just put it to AI and it really comes up with a much better copy. So I think that would be one area we can look at. and like I said, creatives. But I think let's see how maybe they'll write a better language.
With all the plagiarism going on into the journalists doing their own checks of AI content, initially it was
Yes.
only plagiarism, right?
Yeah.
Now,
accepted.
But then AI with whatever AI writes, you can see whether it's really improving what you've written, and you can knock off the parts you don't want. At least, yeah.
Now that has changed. I don't think anybody checks that to that extent.
No,
At
no,
least
no.
For press release, nobody does.
No, but this gentleman told me, Prasad in brand equity, he told me that any POV that you write and thought leadership pieces, that is vetted to see is it plagiarism or is it your original thought process.
you want to add something?
So what I would say is, I would little bit slightly disagree because writing part, I think it's all about a creative pursuit. I think what you can think, forecast and write, the AI actually does little bit of a mishap over there, I feel.
Yeah.
Because creative writing, I think it is your own, trait which you can do. A good content comes from you. AI can be used to make the form better.
Yes.
You can beautify your content, make it little crisper, but the core content has to come from your side. How you can visually depict your thoughts better, how you can do better articulation, use better keywords which are going to be picked up, going to be more receptive to consumers. All that, ancillaries can be done by AI. But the main homework of content has to come from you. Else, yes, else what happens, it's an inverted pyramid when the press release goes. So what stays, you never know and you don't have control. That's what I feel. It's very subjective.
I know. I'm coming from where departments where you have non-writers like the HR department. Earlier they used to bombard me with work, saying now they said, I said, how come you guys are writing so well on your own? They said we write the basic and throw it to AI. So that's where I'm coming from.
And one good thing also is through AI you can get a better hold of keywords. Any keywords which you can do through your SEO tracking, brand keywords, generic keywords, competition keywords, you can take help of those keywords, again, cull out a good draft write-up or a thought leadership story.
That is true.
So I'll tell you how I break the code of this usage of AI, basically ChatGPT and all this thing. So first of all, whatever brand guidelines you follow, right? So basis on that, you can decide, you can create a deck, maybe a document in your folder, that this is the tonality I will use. These are the keywords which I want to capture. These are the words which I really don't want, unwavering, testaments. These are the quite repeated word on ChatGPT, right? So once you create that deck, and
That is about training the model.
Prompts, the right
Exactly.
prompts.
When
When it comes to making it qualitative, from the PR perspective, because journalists have their own lens to look at a
absolutely.
piece for. Amit, you wanted to add something?
So so he had to come up.
Apologize and say those things.
It's ultimately what we can draw from this is it's the people who like to see faces associated to the brand.
Yes.
And from the PR perspective, that
Messaging has to resonate with the audience. You got to connect with the audience at that particular time. And with today's dynamic environment, you cannot leave it. Earlier we used to say that, it will die down. Today it is on first page. Tomorrow it will on second, and then it will be on the last page. We used to think that. We used to work with that. That has changed. That is crap. Nowadays in PR study, that is crap and the biggest mistake anybody would ever think of doing. And leaving the crisis go as, we don't care.
So there is no common theory or a strategy. That's led to the resurgence of influencers, right? From tech, regional, local. That's where everybody seeks validation. So there's no fixed answer for it. Whether leadership comes, whether you use testimonial, whether you seek validation.
I think it is all, it has to be integrated. And at the same time depends on your business and how you resonate with the consumer.
Sorry.
And like they say that if you don't tell your story, someone else will. So if you don't clarify, people will come to these conclusions and write all crap. So you have to address it in that little initial stage.
As somebody said, the communication is all about what you do, what you say, and what others say about you.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So like Goldee rightly said, it's the influencers who do the thing, but in terms of crisis communication, it's always the PR professionals who are there at the forefront.
Yeah,
handling
firefighting all the time,
scope,
yeah.
and no particular strategies getting into the picture. But that also comes in with a lot of ethics
Yeah.
involved around it. And in today's world, I would say that with a lot of concerns growing over data privacy, compliance, and ethical storytelling, how do you think we can navigate from such from the sensitive issues, like the one which we were recently talking about, what happened yesterday? It was a very sensitive and controversial topic. And how can brands? Luckily, there was no brand. It was more of an individual scenario. But
So
He's a brand in himself.
he is a brand in his own self.
Can I add something here now that you have? See, Ipsos is a global brand. We are in 90 markets. We had recently, my colleague is here, Prabha, and we recently had this internal training which we all had to take the test, and that was that on code of conduct. So we have been categorically told that as even if we are on social media in our own name, etc., we have to stay away from anything controversial. We don't have to comment on anything. We don't have to speak about any government, any taking sides. Just stay away from all this, because as brand ambassadors, each one of us is a brand ambassador, and we have to follow those guidelines.
I think as a communication custodian, it is our basic prime responsibility that at least on our personal platforms,
Yes.
or your company's platform, which is in your hand most of the time, you should not be taking these kind of sides or anything which is contradictory.
Exactly.
So
And even
I
as
think
individuals, every employee is supposed to take that route.
Which as a brand and brand ambassador is agreeable, but when it comes to situation of crisis, the PR team has to issue some kind of
Yes.
messaging going around.
So I'll
what
tell
do you have to say about it? Because
I have a story, but I can't just actually tell the real story behind it. But in financial world also, a lot of such crisis happens. And I have faced many of the crises in past as well. My journey of 12, 15 years so far. So it's always better to find what are your key stakeholders. One, of course, I'm not talking about Adani or maybe Reliance. I'm talking about brands like where I have worked in. So, for example, for me, two stakeholders are there. One is client and one could be the media, right? So, rather than sending out your messages loud to everybody, it's better to connect with the right people. Targeted communication.
Yeah.
Do it very strategic manner. Prep yourself, prep your head of the organization, and basis on that, and let it do it closed door. That's what I will say, right?
Yeah,
and I would like to, sorry, ma'am.
No, you carry on. No, actually, they should just be the spokesperson who should be talking. No employee should be encouraged to talk to media or issue any clarification.
Also,
That
I
is the
think
first.
in addition to that, obviously, totally agree with what you just said, that there has to be only one person from the company
Yeah.
side. But at the same time, I think over a period of time, for any communication professional, it is a prime responsibility that, as they say, that, you got to be preparing for the rainy day, right?
Yeah.
Hence, it becomes very important that you have your selected few people who work as brand ambassador for you at the time of crisis, wherein you don't have to make any effort for that matter at the last minute. It is something which is said and unsaid and very much understood without being asking them for any help.
That's your earned
So I think-
media, basically.
Yeah,
That's your earned media.
so that's how you earn it over a period of time.
Goldie,
Yeah, that's true.
I know you were there.
No, I think all of them have said relevant points. I always believe prevention is better than cure.
Yeah.
I think your social media norms, guidelines within the company should be defined very clearly. As she rightly told, though we are democratic, we should be very, very careful in terms of what are we supporting, advocating in the meta handles, platforms. We can't express our opinion just out of it, and that opinion can trigger very, very badly. So every company should have a very, very defined social
Yeah.
media guidelines. Spokesperson.
Not just social media, entire digital media. In
Yes,
fact.
because
Entire
the digital. That's why I told the entire Meta platform, and there should be, whenever the spokesperson speaks, the spokesperson only he's allowed to speak. many of us wouldn't be the spokesperson also, but we are here as thought leaders. So I think that should be careful to such an extent also, whether we should be talking about the brand entitled, not entitled, because anything can trigger a mishap. Today, the world is in such a way. Also, I would strongly urge people that in case you are working with an influencer, content creator, a lot of these brands do, you should always work on a third-party agreement also. You should have an agreement between you, the creator, and the agency, so that there is a defined SOP. Many a times I have seen content creators, influencers going beyond the script and expressing themselves creatively, which has actually fumed and shaken the key narratives. So I think in any form crisis can come, but thanks to data miner and signal AI kind of softwares which actually track real-time crisis, and I'm sure PR professionals would be using that more. So it's better to be careful than to be wondering what to do. I think that's how we should be. That's my point of view.
You wanted to add something?
No, I agree with him completely. Yeah.
Of course. But talking about all this, how do you foresee things evolving now from this point, and when in an ever-changing world? How do you see it evolving, especially for the PR perspective, next 5 years maybe?
Okay, I can just speak. 5 years, I think we need to get more nimble and use how we can leverage AI, and whether it is, like I said, I think we need to work with new lists of media. We have to keep track of how swiftly they are just leaving. Either they're joining the corporate communications world, or they are, just...
You're talking about journalists.
Yes. And they're just jumping. Earlier, I remember they used to stick on for 20 years, 10 years. Now you just talk to him or her and they say, sorry, we are not there anymore. We've jumped to this one. So we have to keep track. I think the most important thing is to have a good media list and to have good media relationships. The rest, of course, you have to see how you can use technology and AI to make you more nimble and to do your work faster and, smarter, I think, because it will just boil down to how quick and fast you are in this new age. And, across your platform, across your TG, etc. And also clients, they expect you to be fast and, I think tardy brands and tardy nature doesn't go well in this new age, fast, kind of age we live in. So I think we have to be I think some of us may also have to take some courses. Although we have just I've taken some internal courses and passed, fortunately. But I think we'll have to really also have that technology, any courses we need to take. But we need to be with the times, definitely. Yeah.
Goldie?
I think it's a constant learning. I think today, apart from what she's saying, it's very important to understand that, see, ultimately what works. Anybody who's into product or service, if it is better, it works. Else, all the moolah money which you pump in with whatever, and brands, there are so many brands as case studies, they've survived or not survived. So one is, if you are sure about your product and your service, I think it is then important to navigate the consumer touch points. Today, you must,
How do you do that with?
I'll tell you that. Today, there is a syndrome called ROPO, which is research online, purchase offline. And either ways also, right? Research offline, purchase online. This syndrome is extremely strong. Now, many consumers, before doing a buying decision, they seek validation of the brand through various touch points. That's where, as a brand, through PR or through marketing or digital channel, you should be, first of all, understanding and knowing those touch points. For example, if a Lallantop works in UP and North, then it is Lallantop, right? If it is a Way to News in South, nothing can be bigger. Or if it is a TV9 network in South. So once you know the touch points, your brand should be there in a very responsible manner and communicate with them locally, creating more emotional connect than being more transactional. So I think once you have cracked that whip, whenever the consumer goes to buy you, you have already done the battle because he's seen you, right? Then the retailer does the service, or through online you get to do it. So I think sensing the passion points of consumer being present in those platforms in the right way is going to be the trick. I don't think it's only marketers' responsibility. PR and marketing are like, I'm sorry to, I hope I'm not quoted wrongly. It is like Mahadev and Vishnu. They are Aradhyas. Both have to be together to maintain Santulan. They both have to be in the right stem, right? While marketeers give their own inputs and bridge, the communicators also have to work hand in hand as friends. That's where the brand wins and both can bring in their course.
Har Har Mahadev.
Har Har Mahadev.
So yeah, I'll add, future of PR and marketing I'll also add.
Yes.
Because Goldee is also suggesting the same. So what we are doing at Client Associates and how I can just relate it with the concept. We have to still just completely relying on the media outreach program. We can also create our own IPs basically. And that is what we are trying to do at Client Associates as well, be it event, be it podcast, or be it social media campaigns. We are trying to create different IPs altogether, which can actually give us the client retention. And in fact, client also calls us every year, guys, are you doing that particular event? Are you doing that podcast? Something like that. So what Amit was also suggesting that they are also doing a wonderful podcast. We are about to do that as well. So my single sentence on that, don't just completely rely on the PR media outreach. Try to create your own properties on your own IPs so that you have your own media in place as well. Sometime it
Building
happens,
up your own equity.
Sometime it happens that your content is too promotional and you can't do it, crack that particular story with media. So it is better to do it on your own media houses. That's it. Yeah.
How do you see, Amit? I mean, especially from the perspective, I see some young students around from their aspirational point of view.
So, yeah, in addition to, I think, a lot of things have already been mentioned by my colleagues here. So, for young students, I would like to, in addition to what they have mentioned, I would like to add that, it would be very important for you to understand that, in the time coming, which becomes very critical for us to own narrative, have an authentic, you got to own a narrative which is authentic and which resonates with your target audience, because as with the rise of in this screen age, it's the line of truth and fake is becoming blur. Earlier we used to say that a stone will always remain a stone, but now you can easily you cannot identify which is a AI stone and which is a real stone. Hence, you got to own a narrative, be authentic, and at the same time, building trust and owning the responsibility as the communication custodian to build the trust among the target audience for your brand is very important. Yeah.
One last thing, sorry. I think very, very important is we as marketeers and communicators, we should challenge the convention. I firmly believe, again, my apologies for saying this, but not all data-driven analytics are correct.
Yeah, as I said that, we need to break the stereotypes.
Correct. So today, if you ask anybody, Bihar's newspaper is Hindustan. Prabhat Khabar wakes up to, Jharkhand wakes up to Prabhat Khabar. MP, Dainik Bhaskar. What about Nai Duniya? What about Haribhumi? Trust me, as marketeers, communicators, you should go to the field, be on the ground, sense the pulse, then analyze the data, and trust, believe you me, you will have a lot of opportunities to challenge the data, because at times, because of data, we think what we are doing is right, but not what consumers are thinking.